Why Americans have a distorted view of India. I've noticed that a lot of people from America, or more generally the West, have a very distorted picture of India. In this article, I'll tell you why that is the case, and then I will offer some facts about India to help you form a more accurate picture of reality. When Americans study their own country, they study it from top to bottom. In other words, they start studying their country from its state structure and constitution. That is, they focus on things like having a written constitution, freedom of speech and human rights, democracy and the right to vote, having an independent judiciary, and the history and founding of their country, that is, the American Civil War, the Declaration of Independence, etc. And only after they study this that they move on to the contemporary issues like racism, treatment of minorities, wokeism, immigration, etc. This gives them a very good understanding of their own country, where they see its structure and features and the flaws as they exist on the ground level. On the other hand, when Americans study India, they study it in exactly the opposite way. They study India from the bottom to the top. In other words, they start with bottom level issues like sanitization, treatment of low caste people, the rights and safety of women, where Western media likes to portray India as extremely dangerous for women, which we will soon see is not the case. And then they ascribe these problems as features of our culture, and this is where you get terms like Brahminical patriarchy, street shitter, etc. They study themselves top to bottom and India bottom to top, and to top it off, they consider the flaws in their society to be features of ours. They get a very distorted picture of India that doesn't really match reality. It doesn't help that Western media loves to lie and exaggerate, which further fuels this view. Imagine if someone studies America from bottom to top. That is, they start from ultra high divorce rates, gun related violence, growing homelessness, transgender children and wokeism, obesity and public health, treatment of immigrants, etc. And then they ascribe these to be the features of American society, governance, and culture. They would get a very distorted view of America too. In any case, here are some facts about India that will help you get a more realistic view of the country. 1. India is a democratic country with multiple political parties, and every citizen above the age of 18 has a right to vote. 2. India's constitution guarantees each citizen various human rights, including the freedom of speech and the freedom to practice any religion. 3. India has an independent judiciary. 4. In the year 1961, the literacy rate, that is, the percentage of people who can read and write with understanding, was just 28.3%. According to the latest 2018 data, it's about 75%. 5. From 2014 to 2020, India built over 110 million toilets, significantly solving the problem of sanitization. 6. In 2018, the last village in India was connected to the national grid. All villages today in India have electricity. 7. Back in the late 80s and 90s, India was still dealing with polio epidemics. Today, India is polio free. 8. India is one of the countries with the lowest per capita rape in the world. That is 1.8 rapes per 100,000 citizens. For comparison, the number is 27.31 in the US and 27.29 in the UK. Doesn't really match up with what Western media likes to portray us as, does it? I tried looking for the stats for Vatican City because they are the religious people in the West and thus presumably the best behaved, but I could not find the data. If you have any estimates, leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear them. 9. The Indian Army has nuclear weapons, ICBMs, aircraft carriers, and 1.4 million active military personnel. The Global Firepower Index estimates it to be the fourth most powerful military in the world. And lastly, India is the third largest economy in the world by GDP PPP. It's $11 trillion in size in 2022. In comparison, the USA GDP by PPP is $25 trillion. The numbers are from IMF. India is growing really, really fast, both as a whole and on a per capita basis. And of course, we have our problems too. I do not wish to paint an extremely rosy picture of India because that would also not be an honest assessment of reality. In this video, I merely wish to discuss why Westerners have this upside down view of India, and I wish to offer some facts that help make things clearer. I hope you found them useful. For Life Math Money, this was your host Harsh Strongman. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and do leave me a comment in the comment section below. I really appreciate your comments and I will make sure to give you a response. Have a great day, and I will see you in a couple of days with a new video. So make sure that you also hit the notification bell because that will notify you when a future video comes out.